let's get into what you're all here for, which is the music. Sean, can you please, while I segue myself to turn off my heater, talk about Ocean's Niagara by M83, one of the first M83 songs we've heard in a Minutski.
Yeah, so first off, Happy New Year, everybody, because, it's first audio face of the year, as we like to take a little bit
Not to be
hiatus.
Larry David about it, but like, is really like it's January 22nd. Oh, it's the 22nd of January, as Disclosure would put it. So, is it a little bit too late to say Happy New Year?
Wait, 22nd January, it is.
I did
Maybe
that
we can't
specifically.
talk about that. We can't talk about it.
I did that specifically, sir. I did that specifically.
I'm going to be listening to that on repeat for the rest of the day. I didn't realize it's 22nd January.
Run that, baby.
Run that shit. But going in, M83, one of my absolute favorite musical artists, even though he has beef with Dan. Literal beef with Dan.
There was that one time, actually very early on in Audioface, where I commented something about him and he took it the wrong way, and I had to like respond, and hopefully he's okay with it. But like, yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little bit rough in the streets, but like,
yeah, with Digital Sage Volume 3, his last release. But so with Ocean's Niagara, he's announced a whole new album that will be out in, I believe, mid-March, and a tour to go along with it. But it's now like Ocean's Niagara is a tried and true M83 sound, where, that early 2010s, late aughts, electronic indie sound that he really pioneered, and a lot of people actually tried to copy, and like similar to like Jai Paul in that way, where you got a lot of different M83 copycats, but that there is only one M83, and Ocean's Niagara is that sound. And it's nice to hear something where it's familiar, but it is a little updated in the way it's more atmospheric in it. There's not really many lyrics, literally just one thing, and then the rest of it is instrumentals. But it's beautiful the way it is. It reminds me of Hurry Up We're Dreaming sound, but a little bit more updated. And I'm excited, super excited for the record release and everything. But if you like M83, you're going to like Ocean's Niagara. If you like indie music, if you like electronic music, you might enjoy it. So it's something that you guys should keep on your radar and definitely check out. It's a good single. It's a good thing, especially with, you had Junk, which we both didn't particularly enjoy when he released that in 2016. There's a couple of decent tracks like Do It, Try It, and a few others that were okay, but didn't really like that direction he went. And then Digital Shades Volume 3 was like this whole different project that was, just a lot of eclectic different work. But this is now like a tried and true M83 release, which I'm super excited. So it's good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, honestly, I was very impressed by it. It's ambient. It's a little bit bold, actually, because of that lack of lyrics, because of that sort of like emptiness, but not in a pejorative sense. Like, yeah, it was very good. And 22 is a landmark year in music. 2023 is seeming like it's only going to continue because of the economics of music. A lot of that is going to be good for us as music consumers. A lot of that's also going to be very interesting as we talk about the economics of music, the business of music, which we always do a side of on Audioface. You'll continue to get a look on that right here, which, of course, just to plug for the podcast audience, just to plug for the live audience, we are doing Audioface live now on twitch.tv/Dan from the web. I might do it on YouTube, depending on if it works or not, which today it currently isn't, but also because I found out a little loophole, which Twitch will allow me to play the live versions of music. So depending on how I like that and how that like works the flow of the podcast, we might be able to do a little bit of that here and there. And then, of course, I'll be able to show a chat and some graphics to the left of us. Did I do the thing right? There we go. Yes, I did. Sorry, I don't have the live version of us on all the time because I'm getting used to Audioface Live. Of course, check out PowerPoint Live on the same channel, twitch.tv/Dan from the web, or youtube.com/Dan from the internet. That's different on YouTube than we are theoretically on Audioface Pod. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what comes out of the year. And segueing to what else comes out of the year is Emily, I'm Sorry by Boy Genius. Could you please do me a favor, do probably all of us a favor, and talk about a little bit about Boy Genius, who they are, why it's interesting that they are creating music this year, and yeah, lead that into. They released an EP of 3 songs. We have an Audioface rule. If you want to stop talking, I can talk about the Audioface rule, but you can feel free to talk about that as well, and then just segue into the song itself, please.
Yeah, so, well, first off, the Audioface rule is we review one single before an album is released, unless you're Dan and you try to loophole it with gorillas. But yeah, so we do that because of the whole Phoenix rule, because I reviewed way too many singles and it was like half the goddamn album. So ever since then, 6 years ago, we have that rule set. But going into Boy Genius, it's a female indie Atoms for Peace. Basically, where it's like a super
bold.
group, right?
I have a lot of bold takes here in the rest of the podcast, but like that's very bold.
Where it's, Julian Baker, Phoebe Bridgers, Lucy Dacus. Like it's a
it's a super group for sure.
Absolutely super group. For the female indie scene, it's like every hipster chick's like just absolute dream lineup right there. Like,
no, not just chicks, like non-binary men, male. Like I love all of this. Like Julian Baker, Phoebe Bridgers, like none of them really need any introduction, including to, of course, Lucy Dacus. So like yes, I love this, and Boy Genius has not like really had a lot of stuff come out recently until this stuff. So like now it's like, okay, 2023, we might get some sauce. I'm feeling really good.
They're supposed to release a record this year, so they did a project I think 5 or 6 years ago, just as like a little EP thing that they did just before like a lot of them really blew up, I would say, or like in the midst of them really blowing up as artists. But now this year they announced that they're gonna fully committed to working on a full LP, and they released a little 3 track single. But we're just off of, it's called The Record, but we're going to talk about Emily, I Sorry. If you guys want to listen to the rest of it, go ahead. But that goes into the singles rule because Audioface.
Basically, we don't want to review too many singles like at once, because then we don't get to listen to the rest of the record. It like ruins the whole experience, because we are a full albums listen through podcast. Like at the end of the day, we like albums here. So
Even an album.
More on the Grammys a little bit later. Check out our previous clips on youtube.com/audiofacepod for our Grammys takedowns. But we definitely, this little humble little podcast establishment here, we do a lot more work than the Grammys, which is pathetic because we're busy.
Right. But I really like Emily, I'm Sorry. I feel like the trio of them, the way that they rap their vocals, definitely Phoebe's taking the lead on it. But the way that they harmonize is beautiful. It's perfect indie. It's really what, I can't wait to talk about the state of the music, our annual discussion that we go on about. But it's the type of indie where it's bridging that like bedroom pop sound with a little bit more acoustics, with a little bit more production style, but still that stripped back style with really airy vocals. But the way when they harmonize in the middle and the crescendos in the middle of the song is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm really excited to hear the full project with them. I didn't listen to the other singles. I actually want to really wait and be patient with this, because I'm excited to see what they do with it. They put their minds together. So yeah, that's good.
It's really hard to remain holy with this, because it's very tempting to listen to the rest. But
and one other thing I'll say too is, it's not like, at least for Emily, I'm Sorry, it's not like one has more say over the other. Like I feel like they really, all 3, Julian Baker, Phoebe Bridgers, and Lucy Dacus, they all combined on that track. And like that was one thing that you can get with super groups. It's one of my very, very few complaints with like Atoms for Peace or even The Smile, where it sounds like a Radiohead side project, right? But with this, it sounds like it's uniquely its own thing in that regard. So that's why I'm really excited to hear the rest of the record when it's out, and not just the single, the record.
Yeah, there's 3 songs. There will most likely be more music to that. So
yes.
I'm very excited to that. We're very excited that. What I'm very excited for is the reviews that we have this week: Maniskin, SZA, and Little Sims. But before that, time to pay the bills. No. I didn't prepare well enough for the advertisement type stuff, so we'll be doing that very soon. But we will have ads in Audioface. But I also go on the Syndicate 23 network, which you can support and not get ads from by going to join.syndicate23.co or just like syndicate23.co in general. Like all the websites work individually. For just like $5 a month, essentially, you can become a Syndicate 23 member. You can get all of the content that we do for free. Honestly, that's a steal compared to a lot of the content that is going out there. Like Netflix is going up, Disney Plus is going up, HBO Max is going up. HBO Max doesn't exist like in a couple of months from now. So like, make sure you get all that stuff. We provide you things on the Audioface side, and including this like special live stream where you get like the special unfiltered, legally unadvisable version of the show. But you'll also get special updates from Syndicate 23 members, like previews of Dan from the Internet specials, these special documentaries that have been great before. They've been high production value before. Boy, can you wait and see what is coming up in the future. Like, I have really impressed myself, and the folks who have been helping to produce these things have been like really pushing themselves to their own limits to make these things happen. So I cannot wait to show all these things to you all and make these extremely long delays mostly worth it. So again, syndicate23.co for all those different things. Speaking of how that's useful for a website, if you are an artist or you know an artist who you want to submit and have promoted on our new music sort of new singles segment that we did earlier, do go ahead and send us an email at info.syndicate23.co, info@syndicate23.co. We'll have our 2023 playlist. We usually do a playlist every single year for, keeping track of all of the best music of the year. And we will definitely have that for 2023. We are just definitely getting that up because it's the first week of the year. Give us a break. Come on. I remember when Mitt Romney said, "Hey, give me a break. Come on, man. Give me a break." And so, we'll get to that very shortly. Don't worry. Hold yourselves. But it's going to be bigger, bolder, and blacker than ever. Because we're going to have some curation to that. Sean did Bama eyes right there, but it's okay. Because Sean loves bigger and blacker, and boy, I noted. And lastly, thank you, Peter, for mixing and mastering this episode. For, again, I always screw that up because technically he does the mastering and I do the mixing, but he makes the episode sound better. He also contributes to Audioface and helps make sure the clips get published and all these other different things, along with Austin, along with the entire Audioface team. So thank you to all of them, and it's going to be a really great stuff coming from the rest of the year.